And we're going to be talking today about Carlos Correa and the inability to play for Equipo de Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic or WBC, because there's some issues that have been happening for several years. And we have other players who had these issues before where the insurance are not insuring the player and they are unable to play due to this. And we will talk about what is the responsibility for Major League Baseball and WBC. And we'll talk about the responsibility for the player and for the teams in this situation. We will explain who is covering this, what insurance are available, and the reason why probably his insurance was not approved and the reason why he's unable to participate for Equipo de Puerto Rico. So stay with us, and in the next few minutes, we're going to be talking about Carlos Correa and the issues that he's been having now with the participation for a World Baseball Classic, and talking about him not be the only one. There's other players with this issue. And we are back, and we're going to be talking about Carlos Correa. And despite his intention to participate for Equipo de Puerto Rico or Puerto Rico team in the WBC, he's not allowed to be playing in this event due to issues with the insurance that he's supposed to have. And, we have had these issues in the past, and there's multiple players that have this. We can go back to 2017 when Sonny Gray and Russell Martin were not allowed to participate for the World Baseball Classic. We can go back in 2023 when Clayton Kershaw and Miguel Cabrera could not be participating. And obviously, this year, we have Eli De La Cruz that in December started talking about his inability to play for the WBC after his injury on his left quadricep. And other players like Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa, obviously. So first, who is the insurance that is being covering for this? Well, first, number one, the WBC need that insurance. The insurance is not provided by Major League Baseball or WBC organization. And the insurance is provided by independent insurance or underwriting who are going to look at the player, look at the history of the player with the medical history, look at the previous years with the injuries, look at the position that they play and the style of play that they do. So as somebody who is stealing a lot of bases, more risk, but somebody who doesn't. And they, with all that, decide, number one, if this player can be insurance, with taking into consideration the money that they're making or the salary they're making that year. And then we'll put a prime or we'll say how much will cost to insurance with this player. And the idea for this is to minimize the risk for teams and for the player. So if something happened and they get injured, then they're not fighting between them who's going to cover the player's salary. The players, have their salary covered, and the teams don't have to pay for that player if they get hurt. So most of the team are okay for this player to participate, but what they don't want is taking a risk and the player not just being missing in their team, but being in the need to be paying for that contract that they're not going to be using through the season. So it is really intriguing for me that Major League Baseball with the Player Association, WBC, hasn't come together with this, because the idea of the WBC, it is to expose baseball through the world, like the World Cup for soccer. It is an event that is going to get potentially the best players of every nationality, and together they compete against each other to expose baseball and to crown the best team in the world to participate in this. So it is really hard for me to understand why this is still happening since 2017, and still we have issues with it. Because at the end of the day, Major League Baseball, it will be beneficial from this because the game will be exposed and the league will be exposed and they will be more international and more globalized. And at the end of the day, TVs, contracts and exposure will be beneficial for the league and the players. So, we're still looking for these independent companies that what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, how much money this guy making this year? What is their risk? And how much you're going to pay for me? I was looking around, we talk about 10, 15% of the salary is probably the what they're gonna be paying for that insurance, and it's a lot of money. And sometimes I may be wrong on that, but that was what I was looking doing my research. And if there's anybody who has a better number, please comment and correct me. But if you're gonna look and say how much money they're gonna make and how much money they may have to pay if this player get hurt, that's where the insurance say, no way, Jose, no way that we are gonna be doing this. And that's what happened with Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve. Correa is gonna make $31 million. Altuve is set to make $30 million and dollars. And with the history of injuries over the last couple of years, they have a conversation with their team after they were denied with this insurance, and they made a decision that they're not going to play. Especially Correa, who expressed that to the Athletics recently, that he's not gonna be able to participate because it's too much risk, and the team is not gonna take too much risk. In 2023, Miguel Cabrera has similar issues. He wasn't insured, but he was able to participate, and they took a risk, and nothing happened. But obviously, at that time, de-aging and obviously not stealing bases, it is something that would be less risky than somebody like Carlos Correa, who traditionally plays shortstop in the World Baseball Classic. He will be playing third base, and is that one of those issues that we can't control, and we cannot blame the player or the teams to be looking for themselves. But the issue that I have is that we're looking to expose baseball to the world, and we're looking to crown the best team in baseball in this event. And obviously, Team Japan have players like Ohtani, who already have 2 Tommy John surgery, and he's able to participate, and he's making significant amount of money. Obviously, if you look at how money he's making this year, with the contract, with the deferred money, and the money that he's getting paid later, obviously that's probably the reason why he's able to participate, and it is not a high risk for them because the money that they'll have to pay for this contract. But I don't know all the details, right? Other players like Aaron Judge, who had a shoulder injury, or at least supposedly was having some shoulder issues in the past. I'm not sure exactly what he had or how realistic was this, but looks like nothing was major, right? Because he's able to play. And if you look and you ask the Hispanic community, the people from República Dominicana and the people from Puerto Rico, definitely they have some question about it. Why our players are unable to play, and why other teams from Japan, United States are able to form their team and able to have people that are already been injured even last year or the last several years, I should say, without any issues with the insurance. Obviously, I don't know the details. What I can tell you is this case about Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa had to prove himself that he was healthy. He had issues in the past. In 2024, he missed some time with missed 2 months with plantar fasciitis issue. He was able to be back, and then last year he got a concussion. Those things you can't control. And then he had somebody clip him in the ankle or slide on him, and he was having some issues. But he didn't miss too much time. Last year he proved himself. He was able to play over 90 games with Minnesota, and he was able to play over 50 games with Houston. He hit over 260 with Minnesota, over 290 with Houston. He was able to stay on the field over 140 games last year. And the year before, obviously, he wasn't able to play that much because of the plantar fascia issue. And definitely the issue that he had while trying to get the contract with the New York Mets, and the situation, whatever happened with the San Francisco Giants, probably is not helping. And probably they have to do new MRIs, and they have to do new x-rays and new testing that can tell them better how he's doing now. But the truth is that he was able to play last year, one of the most games that he has played over the last 10 years. And I know there's other years that he played more, but since the question about his endurance, he was able to play most of the year. So as a third base that he was going to play, is less risk than playing shortstop. Now, probably playing third base for Houston is going to help with the longevity. But at the end of the day, it is about the loss that the Puerto Rico team or equipo de Puerto Rico will have in this World Baseball Classic, because don't forget that Correa, when we were playing, or Puerto Rico was playing against Holanda, they were 2-0 down in the first inning. Carlos Correa came and get a homer to put us on the board and increase the momentum. Don't forget about Carlos Correa being on the playoff and carry this team of Houston after the situation with the scandal with the stealing signs, and how they were able to communicate. He came and he was able to get a phenomenal, really good playoff. So these guys is built for the pressure, and these guys been there before, and there's no question that Puerto Rico, will miss Carlos Correa in the field, not just with his bat, but his leadership and the pressure that he take off of other player, and the pressure that he don't lose, that he feels, lose that he embrace it. And we know we have other players. We know that we have, Francisco Lindor, we have Javier Baez, we got Arenaldo, we got Yadier Molina as a manager. And we have other players that are coming, and the talent is there. And, I believe that we're going to surprise the world, but definitely Carlos Correa will be missed. That will be a player that I wish we'll have. But I understand the business of the game. I can't blame him for securing his, his career. I can't blame him for not risking, what he's bringing to a table for his family and for his retirement. So definitely nobody can blame. I will be really not just. I would not justify people out there that is being talking about Carlos Correa not having the desire to play for Puerto Rico, because he was there for 26-17, and he has shown in the past that he has the passion and he has the heart and the pride to be Puerto Rican or Puerto Riqueño, and put those colors on the flag in his uniform. So thank you for staying with us. Thank you for having us in your home and listening to us. And I hope that this gives you a little bit more information about the issue with Carlos Correa, with the insurance, a little bit more insight and an opinion of a fellow Puerto Rican o puertorriqueño como soy, para que Carlos Correa sepa que estamos con él y que lamentamos que no va a estar en el clásico.